Welcome to Try Out Nature. Today we're going to give you some tips on keeping the inside of your tent dry.
Okay, you can tell we are out here in nature today. We decided to set this tent up so that we could have a little bit of not only a prop in the background, but so we could show you guys a couple things. The first thing that you're going to want to do to keep the inside of your tent dry is just maximize airflow. Once you put your rain fly on, especially if it's humid out there and you get inside your tent, you are going to have a very humid inside of your tent, and that's going to create condensation. So make sure you have really good airflow.
Keeping the tent cool will really help as well, because then you don't get the humidity and then that changes into the condensation. So try to keep your tent cool, and we also have a video about that. I'll link it in the description.
Okay, the second thing you're going to want to do is to keep wet items outside of your tent. If you have wet clothes like a wet bathing suit, any of those things, keep those things outside of the tent. It'll just increase the humidity inside the tent if you put them in there.
Another thing to consider, if you notice the tent gets wet when you touch it from the inside, that has to do with the HH rating, which stands for hydrostatic head, and you can check that when you purchase the tent. If it's a good one, and the higher the rating, the better, and the less likely that'll happen.
All right, the next thing that you can do is put an extra tarp over your tent. If you have a rain fly, that's great, but of course protecting your tent from the elements will help keep water out. So if there's any chance of rain, you can put an extra tarp on top of the rain fly. You're going to want to leave some space between the tent and the rain fly, so again, to keep that airflow, but that should help keep the tent a little bit more dry.
Any extra cover will help, so if you can get under some trees or even maybe kind of a rock wall, that'll give you just a little more shelter. That'll help. And also try to get high ground if you are too low. Nathan was saying that a friend of his had this mistake, and then it rained and kind of flooded the tent because he was in that low ground. So make sure you're not at the lowest point where water is going to collect if it rains.
Keeping your tent dry while you're camping is going to be one of the best things you can do for your comfort while you're out in the outdoors. If you have to go to sleep in a place that is wet and humid, it's going to cause a lot of discomfort. It'll make your sleeping bag wet, which will make it difficult for you to sleep, and a myriad of other problems. So make sure you keep your tent dry. Hopefully these tips have helped. Go over to our website, tryoutnature.com, linked in the description, and you can find some more information about keeping your tent dry.